I have another question. So this is quite new to me. So as you can imagine, my parents are like, you know, you're pandering to her. You know, she needs to be eating this, and you know, why are you letting her watch TV while she's eating? She should be at the table, and you know, all these things. Have you got anything that you can use, you know, as a parent to say, hey, back off?
Back off.
You know?
Other than we know
Aside from saying back off.
Because when as soon as you start talking about an eating disorder, they're like, oh, rubbish, they need to sit down and, you know, have their dinner, and, you know, back in our day. And
And I think a lot of the times they kind of go, this wasn't a thing back in the day, which is wrong.
Yeah.
It was. There's lots of children who presented, but it was obviously never
Not
treated
diagnosed.
or diagnosed or anything
Yeah.
along those lines. That has been around for a while. I mean, we even have, there's like cavemen, like back then, of people like tweaking bottles to change the flow for babies who couldn't manage, you know, in terms of that type of feeding challenge, who couldn't manage the flow. So like, it's been around for a really long time. Like it's not new essentially, but yes, we'll acknowledge that there's difference in generations and different parenting practices and styles. I like to say, whether you're actually working with a therapist or not, sometimes saying we are trying something new, or we're going to, you know, change the way we're doing things. It'd be really helpful if there were no comments made around what we're. I mean, obviously it depends on the relationship you have with your parents. But yeah, we're trying some things, so this is what we're going to be doing, and we'd really appreciate
if you could do the same.
If you could do the same, and we're just not going to force our child.
And there are some structures that we do encourage, like having planned structured meal times, kitchens closed so we're not grazing right up to dinner time. Yes, that, I mean, which is, my grandparents were very keen on, you have your breakfast, you have your lunch, you have your dinner, and you maybe have a snack. So having those structured eating times, having sort of structured meal times, washing your hands before dinner, preparing for the meal time. So there are some of that structure is really important, but not the forcing feed. But we would restrict the timing. So if it's dinner's going on for more than 20, 30 minutes, you're not you're not going to get any more in.
And I guess if they're, you know, as a grandparent who's really involved in your meal times, giving them a role like that, kind of saying, again, like we're trying something different, or we're doing this. Can your job be to plan our meals, or can your job be to set the table with the kids, or, you know, give them a job? Because then sometimes it kind of means, oh well, I'm doing
the process.
Ownership, and I'm doing something to help the process. There are some grandparents out there who, you know, they need research, they need evidence, like they need to kind of see and show this is what the diagnosis is, and again refer to those websites and things, and this is actually what is happening, and sometimes they need explanations of this is not parenting caused, you know, this is not something I've created, this is something the child is struggling with, and we want to support them. And when we force, bribe, you know, whatever behaviours they're demonstrating, that's setting us back. That's not helpful. But that is a really tough,
tricky conversation. But we also know that the higher the stress levels, the lower the intake. So we know as the mealtime goes over, as the pressure goes on, we know that they're likely to eat less. So,
and if that's coming from the grandparents as well, you want to kind of. But I mean, I think it depends. How does the grandparent respond to information best? Like, what's the best way to approach it? As well?
It's giving them the right tools to sort of to do their own, come to their own conclusion.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Any strategy you want to be on the same page. Say, okay, well, we're going to try this now. If it doesn't work, open to suggestions. But you know, That is not an easy. It's not an easy conversation.
And as best you can, just kind of going, as you said, it's a them problem.
So
it's actually about them more so than it's about you.
Yeah.
That's a bit tough.
Yeah, of course. I just like to say my parents are actually amazing.
So when they're watching this, we're good.
They are,
Great.
they cater to the kids.
That's so helpful.
Yeah,
Amazing,
more
yeah.
so than I do probably.
Yeah. That's really great.
Yeah.
That's so helpful.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
feel
they're
bad.
just always under the understanding. I don't want them to be upset. If they don't want to eat that, then I don't want them to be upset. So it's great.
Well, like you say, and if you need to explain that, like saying it just pushes us back.
Yeah.
Like it just sends us back and causes more anxiety and more stress. And what I would actually, sorry, still talking about this, if there's a grandparent who's really struggling with it, ask them if they have any fears.
Yeah.
Ask them if they have a fear of something.
Yeah.
Be it spiders, heights, snakes, whatever it is, and say, if 3 times a day you were asked to confront that fear, what would you
Yeah.
want in that situation? Would you want pressure? Would you want force?
Yeah.
What would you want in that situation? Because they're going to say, I'd rather not do it.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening 3 times a day. So you're sometimes using, and like I said, getting them to come to their own conclusion, but you're kind of giving them the tools.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially a fear.
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. Great, thank you very much.